Hi, sir.
Big fan.
Well, thank you. And your name?
Vladimir.
Vladimir, pleasure to meet
Also known as former Soviet citizen.
Well, as long as your last name's not Putin.
No, God forbid. But unfortunately, I do share the first name.
No, that's what I'm saying. As long as your last name's not Putin. Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Sure, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Love what you do.
Okay.
Well,
Also member of a Tea Party, obviously.
NRA.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, you got the elephant.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me.
Sure.
Thank you for having it, coming out. Appreciate
Sure.
it.
It's all up to you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Sure.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure is mine. And hopefully we'll take back the Senate this time around.
Well, we
like
will.
we did in 2010.
And we'll restore our country.
Right. That's the goal.
You got it.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Get it all five. We're all three.
And then they just book signing, and it was time to go.
So what I tried to do in that book was talk about my upbringing, how my parents inculcated these principles and values in me, what it was like, the 22 years in the United States military, the experiences that I saw. I tell you in the book about when I went through Checkpoint Charlie. How many people here know what Checkpoint Charlie is? Look it up. Checkpoint Charlie is the one place where you could go from West Berlin into East Berlin, where you went through the wall. And as a young lieutenant in 1985, 24 years of age, when I went through Checkpoint Charlie, I saw the other side. I saw what it meant to not be free. I saw what it meant to not have liberty. I saw what it meant to not live in a constitutional republic. When you walked the streets and you looked into people's eyes and you saw despair, you saw despondency, you saw dejection. When you walked the streets and you saw how terrible the roads were, you saw that there were still bullet holes in some of the buildings that were over there. You saw that there were only two types of cars, a two-door and a four-door, and they came in three different types of colors. You did not see innovation. You did not see ingenuity. You did not see the indomitable spirit that we have here in the United States of America. And see, my fear is that if we don't have those experiences, if we don't know from whence we came, then someone's going to stand up and tell you he's going to fundamentally transform your country. And you're going to clap and cheer. And you'll be led off to the slaughter, like I believe philosophically we are being done to here in the United States of America. Think about this. What is New York City? New York City is the home of free market capitalism. But yet last November, you voted in an avowed socialist communist to be your mayor. How is that possible? How is it possible when a person tells you exactly who he is, exactly what he believes? How is it possible when the comptroller, the new comptroller of New York City stands up and says, we don't believe in individual success. We believe in shared prosperity. We have forgotten the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals that makes us the greatest nation that the world has ever known. Now the challenge is this, because the clock's ticking. There are people that see us at a weak moment. Our economy is weak. The energy resources that we have here that we could exploit and make sure that we can produce, consume, and export, we're not doing it. And when you have the Secretary of Defense that stands up on a Monday and says that we're going to cut our military down to pre-World War II levels, and what happened by the end of the week when he made that announcement? Russia went into the Crimea. History, as George Santayana said back in the 1920s, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Because back in the 1930s, it was Adolf Hitler that said, I'm just worried about the ethnic Germans over in the Sudetenland. Can you please make sure that I can protect those ethnic Germans? And a gentleman by the name of Sir Neville Chamberlain said, no problem. Can you sign this peace agreement? And he flew back and he waved that piece of paper. Then the next thing you know, lightning war, the Blitzkrieg. The Germans ran through Czechoslovakia, then they ran through Poland. I do not want to see the wall that I went through in 1985 restored again. And none of us should want to see it. Yes, sir.
You mentioned Checkpoint Charlie
Yes.
there in Curtin.
I happen to live on the other side, behind the Iron Curtain for 29 years. How can you explain the allure of so-called socialism and communism among today's Americans, especially young
It's very
Americans?
simple. The question was, how can you explain the allure of socialism? Because everyone gets something. You get free stuff. And you get it from those guys over there. Because those guys over there are really not nice guys. You know, those one percenters, how did they get their wealth? It's not really their wealth. They should share that wealth. Fair share, fairness, income inequality, share prosperity. It's all campaign slogans. It's all bumper stickers. And see, when you have a country that now has the attention span of a gnat, and that's what has happened in America. We are a headline. As a matter of fact, there was a study done last week that says most of Americans just read headlines. They don't read stories. They don't think in depth. They just read headlines. So guess what? I can come out, hope and change. Or hope for what? Change for what? Forward. Forward to what? As a matter of fact, Lenin and Stalin came up with that quote, forward. But no one knew that. Okay? And so it is very easy, if you don't know from whence you came, that I can take you off the expressway and I put you on a totally different path. That is what is happening in the United States of America. I will give it to them. Brilliant marketing strategy. Everything that they do is poll testing. Think about this. Remember when the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, came out and said Obamacare will cause Americans to lose about 2.5 million jobs? Every single Democrat came out on the Sunday talk shows and said, we are going to free and liberate Americans from job lock. Remember that? They're trapped by jobs, and we're going to make sure they don't have to be trapped. They can stay at home. They can, pursue whatever interest they want. They can be with their families. They get a government check. Well, if you're sitting around, you're like, I always did want to play the bass guitar. And so I can stay at home and you're going to be the one that gets me my check. But the problem was this. Where was the response from the other side? There wasn't one. And the response was this simple. If everyone is staying at home waiting for the check, who's out there producing so that they get the check? If you're disincentivizing work, which is what the CBO said, who is out there earning to give them the check? Remember what Margaret Thatcher said. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. That was it. That's all you had to say. But we don't study. And we don't, in the Army, what we do is you have a red cell. And the red cell tells you what the enemy is thinking of doing. Because as a commander, I never just said, okay, here's the operation we're going to do. I need to know what the enemy is thinking and what his courses of action are. And if I know that, then I can plan and I can also have contingencies. We don't do that. These guys are sitting back in some place, and whatever happens, they're ready to come out and they say, this is what all y'all need to say. Who does Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who has he been constantly talking about on the Senate floor?
Koch brothers.
Koch brothers. Coca-Copia, he's coming with everything. Because what are they doing? They're going to demonize the Koch brothers. And anyone that they end up finding out is supported by the Koch brothers, they're going to tie them to it. That's what they do. That's Saul Alinsky. How many people have read Rules for Radicals in here? If you haven't read Rules for Radicals, you don't get these guys. You've got to understand their battle tactics.
Frank Marshall Davis. Yeah, I know. Alleged father of Obama.
He was his mentor in Hawaii.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Hello.
Hello. Former Marine.
Vladimir. Vladimir is the man.
All right.
Love it.
Just one sec.
All right.
Yes.
Definitely not least.
To Vladimir.
That's right.
Former Soviet citizen and a true capitalist.
$169.
Steadfast.
No, it's not.
Can I hold this, please? As we shake hands?
Shake hands.
All right. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Vladimir. And this guy knows what it means to be free.
That's absolutely right. I'm trying to spread the word.
I mean,
Okay, thanks.